going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of CryptoZombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having an awesome start to your week. Having a look at Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, we do have a bit of a mixed market today. The majority of the cryptos are, however, in the green. Bitcoin once again being quite boring. Lots of negative sentiment around Bitcoin as we have seen the DeFi sector absolutely booming. Well, on today's episode, I want to talk about a few things. Number one, we have a potential bearish crossover on the stochastic RSI. Now, the last time that this happened, Bitcoin dumped over 60%. In fact, every single time Bitcoin has done this, we've actually had a bit of a pullback. So are we anticipating a massive drop? You can see right here, Bitcoin has actually started to fall out of the bottom of this pattern that we've been looking at for quite some time. So that's going to be the main focus of today's video. However, there also on the flip side is still the possibility of Bitcoin in a descending broadening wedge formation with a target of $17,000. So we're going to talk about that today. Lots of mixed signals going on. Also want to go into the fact that we do have DeFi, for example, okay? Now, some people are saying that, DeFi is the next big thing. Other people are saying, oh, it's just ICO 2.0, 3.0, whatever. So I want to talk about whether or not Bitcoin would actually potentially profit from a unexpected burst of the DeFi bubble. Also got a little bit of bad news about some DeFi, a DeFi project in particular today. You may know what I'm talking about. If you don't, we're going to go into all that today. Also, Bitcoin fundamentals, who is holding, who is selling, who is buying, all of that, and whether or not the outlook is truly bullish or bearish. All that today. Lots of things to catch up on if that sounds good to you. You know what to do. If you're not subscribed, definitely consider it. Today is the Ledger Nano S giveaway. We'll be doing that at the end. If you missed out this time, drop a comment on any video. You are eligible. Without further ado, let's dive in. Having a look right here, you will notice that Bitcoin has lost most of the trends that we were on. For example, right here, we had this resistance flip support. That got broken right here on June 24th. And if we have a look right here, Bitcoin even fell below this sort of ascending trend that we had put in right here. So some people are saying that's it. We put in a short-term lower low. Bitcoin is just destined to fall back down to the $7,200 level. Well, one thing that could potentially indicate its weakness is the fact that we're still sitting very low on the Bollinger Bands. We're sitting below the stasis. In order for Bitcoin to be right on that, we would need to see a $9,400 Bitcoin. And you could see that right here around the $7,800 level. We have had a lot of resistance flip support. So is Bitcoin potentially going to have to retest the high to, mid $7,000 range? Well, according to Mike McClone from Bloomberg, he says Bitcoin is a caged bull set for breakout, eyeing 13,000 resistance. The more disdain from bulls should be for the better, keeping the price tilted upward for the consolidating crypto. Declining Bitcoin volatility reflects maturation towards a digital version of gold. But wait, I hear what you're saying. If Bloomberg is bullish, well, guess it's time to sell, right, guys? Well, let's have a look for ourselves, right? You should never just take advice from anyone on the internet. So having a look right here, including myself, you could see that, yes, we did have the golden cross. We had the golden cross fake out. This was to be expected. I told you guys that a lot of times on the day of the fake on the cross, we have a fake out. And it played out exactly like we thought it did. So anybody that had an opportunity to put in a short-term short, well, you did very well on that trade. But the thing I want to point out is if we take out this little sort of fake out pump that we had right here, Bitcoin is still technically in a descending wedge formation. Now, yes, we could potentially come down here to the bottom and retest around the $8,800 level, which was a very important level that we had spoke about previously. However, we do know that descending wedges do generally break to the upside. So if we did have a breakout to the upside, you might be looking again at that resistance for the $9,500 level. But for me, the ultimate level to still be is 9,800. So if we do break out to the upside above 9,800, then I would become extremely short-term bullish. Now, you do notice right here this blue zone, right? Now, this blue zone has sort of reflected the neutral zone for Bitcoin. If we're above it, we're kind of generally in the bullish territory. Below it, we're probably more in the bearish territory, okay? Now, you can see right here, if we zoom in, Bitcoin has actually been in this descending formation. Now, I know we drew the wedge before, but there also is the potential that it is just a channel. And if we do break below that $8,800 level that I just spoke about, we're going to end up back in the blue zone. And the area that you don't want to fall below essentially is the $7,464 level. Now, why am I talking about the bearish possibility? K-Dub, you're supposed to be a permabull. Well, guys, I am long-term bullish on Bitcoin, but there has been a lot of negative sentiment. Now, I do know that Bitcoin does like to come out, when you're not looking and surprise you and pump to the moon, but let's be honest, we do have stochastic RSI having a bearish crossover above the 70. Now, you can see that according to Coiner Yadox, he basically says, this could be potentially looking for a heavy correction. In fact, every single other time we did it, we had a correction, even during the massive bull run of 2017. You can see all the drawbacks here: 76%, 34, 23, 42, 31, 40, 36, 32. And the last time when we had the big major scare, we dumped 61%. Now, you might be saying, well, that was probably due to the pandemic. Well, we're going to get into that in just a second, but realistically speaking, there's two levels you want to look at right here. One is the legacy trend line, which is basically the bottom for Bitcoin. You can see whenever we dip below it, we don't stay below it for very long. In fact, it basically is excellent time to accumulate. You can see we fell down here between August 17th and November 2nd in 2015 right here. Bitcoin got instantly bought back up, and we did wick below it really quick on our Black Thursday event, and we got pulled back above it. So that's the first thing to keep in mind. The second thing to keep in mind is the 200 weekly moving average, which Bitcoin, for the most part, ultimately on the close, basically never closes below it, with the exception of, I think, 3 weeks in Bitcoin's history. But for the most part, we do respect it. You can see we got a nice, beautiful bounce back here at the end of the 2018 bear market. And so basically, we're looking at that level to potentially meet here. So, you could see Bitcoin come down, but ultimately, if we look at where those are both going to meet, it pretty much signals that you're probably not going to see Bitcoin go below 6,800. If Bitcoin starts getting to the low 7,000s, well, not financial advice, but might be time to heavily dollar cost average. Now, like Crypto Michael said, it feels like the world is ending when I'm reading my feed or some groups. The price is $8,900, up 137% since March 12th. And it's the weekend. This was from the weekend, obviously. He says, usually trappy moves, relax, Bitcoin, okay? And having a look right here, if you want to look still on the bullish side, we are still sitting above the resistance flip support of the descending broadening wedge. Now, I told you guys in both circumstances, whether it comes out of a move to the upside or a move to the downside, textbook, you're looking for an 80% move to the upside. So there's only a 20% chance this isn't going to play out. Still a 20% chance, but 80% of the time it breaks to the upside. And even if we just take it from the moment of the breakout right here, we're not even going to the level that we're at right now, that puts us up at around $17,095. So yes, there still is that potential chance we could come all the way back down to the lower end. However, I don't see us going to the bottom. That would completely change the structure of Bitcoin, and we'd probably be looking for a multi-year bear market. Some of you might be happy to hear that. I don't think I wouldn't be happy to hear that personally, but that is a possibility. Now, I do want to point out on the plus side, we are still above the resistance logarithmically. And yeah, I mean, as long as we could stay essentially above the $9,000 level, technically the $8,900 level, still hard to be a Bitcoin bear, but anything could change moving forward. And one thing I wanted to point out is Willy Woo, who does on-chain, analysis. He basically says he's working on a new model. And according to him, you could see that Bitcoin was in fact setting up for a massive rally, but we did have the Black Swan event, which was the pandemic. That did in fact cause the dump. However, he does say right here, this model suggests we are closer to another bullish run, maybe another month to go. Now, I know some people are saying, oh, they're always saying there's going to be a run to the upside. Well, guys, eventually it's really going to be the last time to get Bitcoin under 10,000. And yeah, anyone that wasn't dollar cost averaging is probably going to be kicking themselves. But currently right now, Bitcoin is quite boring, not much happening, but you do know it usually is the calm before the storm, right? Now, having a look right here, let's talk about some Bitcoin fundamentals. Well, we do have essentially Bitcoin HODLers. Now, you can see right here, looking at the HODL charts for the last 1, 2, and 3 years, the people that have held Bitcoin, have not moved Bitcoin in the past 1 year, has actually reached 60%, which is showing me that right now people are very confident in the long-term price action for Bitcoin, even as potentially a store of value. Another positive is the fact that we have Bitcoin miners, according to on-chain data from CryptoQuant, actually cooling off on their selling pressure. Mining pool outflows basically have slowed down. So now we did see that there was a big sell-off from 2 Chinese pools, over 7,000 Bitcoin. However, they didn't sell it on exchanges. It looks like it was an OTC trade. Now, why is this happening? Well, there is still a lot of pressure on miners still dealing with the Bitcoin halving. For us, it was a glorious event. For them, they literally got their revenue cut in half. Imagine getting up and going to your job today and doing the exact same amount of work that you did last week, except getting paid half the amount for it, right? Great for your employer, not so great for you. But eventually we are going to see an ultimate slowdown. Now, speaking about the institutional buying, you can see right here, Grayscale added 19,879 Bitcoin last week to their Bitcoin trust, while Bitcoin miners only produced 7,081 Bitcoin. So this is almost, not quite, but almost 3 times the amount of Bitcoin outflow from the miners being produced by solving the, puzzles, or the, solving the blocks. So, yeah, to say that Bitcoin demand is not there, I'm not quite sure what you guys are talking about. And if you don't remember this video that came out from Jesse Powell, he was over on, I forget what channel this was it CNBC or something like that, but basically, he was talking about whether or not Bitcoin is a store of value, who we are seeing buying Bitcoin right now, is there any demand for Bitcoin, and what he would be doing in this situation. And just to refresh, just to jog your memory, I'm going to play some clips from this interview super quick, and then we're going to keep on with the video.
Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency asset class in general. It's Jesse Powell, CEO of one of the largest crypto exchanges, Kraken. Great to have you with us, Jesse. And talk to us about the hope of Bitcoin in particular, but crypto in general, becoming a store of value. Are we there yet?
We are already there. Bitcoin has 10 years of history behind it. Over time, it is up and to the right. People are flocking to it as a safe haven because of that finite, predictable supply. No one can print Bitcoin. So it's very predictable, and people are flocking to it for that reason. Long term, you're going to see Bitcoin surpass gold in terms of store of value.
Who do you see as the real buyer at this point for demand pushing up Bitcoin?
In the past 3 months, we're seeing a massive influx of new accounts from all personas. So we're seeing hedge funds, we're seeing wealth managers, we're seeing retail investors, we're seeing day traders. Everyone is signing up. Just look at the traditional markets these days. It's all over the place. I mean, Bitcoin is the only thing you can look at over the last 10 years and see that it's up 1,000,000%. You're talking about manipulation. If you look at the Fed buying junk bonds from failed United States corporations, it's a joke. The market is manipulated. They're printing trillions of dollars to pump up the value of publicly traded stocks. You can't price anything in dollars anymore. The inflation is going to be out of control very soon here. Personally, I would be buying Bitcoin as a hedge against that inflation.
And like Max Kaiser says, he says Jim Rogers, Mark Cuban, and other pre-coiners represent huge pent-up Bitcoin buying demand. When they finally understand it, they'll go all in with huge buys. I 100% guarantee this to be the case. But unpopular opinion, according to Eric Lombrazzo, Bitcoin is not the future of finance. It is a way to opt out of the present of finance to buy us some time until we figure out what to put in its place. So some people are of the opinion that, well, Bitcoin is kind of just like the best we can do right now. It's not really the best option. It's just sort of a thing to hold us over until we figure out what that next thing is. Some people say it's Ethereum. Some people say it's Digibyte. Some people say it's Dogecoin. Well, to each his own. But moving on, guys. A lot of people say it's DeFi. Could it be DeFi? Is DeFi a bubble? Well, we've seen some massive gains over the past 90 days. Even just the past week, Bitcoin down actually 2%, while you have, Aave, Kyber Network, Loopring, Bancor, MakerDAO, Melon Protocol, all doing quite well. We have Bancor up 410% in the past 90 days. So what is going on with the DeFi sector? Well, before we get into that, we do have some bad news. Now, we spoke about the big rush over Balancer. People were buying Balancer at $25 or something like that. And I basically told people to, be careful, watch out with the hype. And well, as of yesterday, we could see that apparently someone drained a Balancer pool made up of WETH and STA and got away with $500,000 worth of WETH. Balancer has confirmed the incident, adding more details, which stated that an attacker was able to drain the funds from two pools that contain tokens with transfer fees, often referred to as deflationary tokens. You can see that decentralized exchange aggregator 1inch also shed light on the situation, explaining that the attacker used a smart contract to automate multiple actions in a single transaction. Now, this, in my personal opinion, is the problem. There are just way too many ways to exploit this. I mean, we even had the BZX hack, or the BZX exploit, however you want to refer to it, which was a clever arbitrage execution, which exploited a bug in the smart contract, which allowed for a leakage of supposedly locked BZX funds to Uniswap and further absorbed into compound position. Now, having a look over at what happened with the Balancer incident, the arbitrage attack was made possible due to the structure of Balancer pools, which are multi-dimensional automatic market makers. Wow, that sounds quite advanced to, unfortunately, have a bit of a, incident. They contain multiple assets and keep them balanced in certain proportions by creating arbitrage opportunities for swapping any asset by forming prices with a special formula. Now, I thought we were trying to make cryptocurrency easy for the masses. This DeFi stuff is pretty crazy. Sure, I'm hearing claims of people making 300%, 400%, but I've also seen a lot of people getting confused, losing their tokens, not realizing what they locked up where, having exploits, having hacks, having all these other situations. So the question is DeFi the future, or is it honestly probably just another bubble? Well, Kevin Ko, a partner at Cryptocurrency Advisor, he's an advisor and he works at investment firm Spartan Group. He says we've seen a major re-rating in many of the smaller altcoins, especially the DeFi ones, in the past 4 to 5 weeks, while Bitcoin has been range bound. At some point, the valuation of these alts will start to look frothy and the capital will flow back into Bitcoin. And this sentiment is based on the fact that most smaller altcoins trade against Bitcoin or Ethereum, not the US dollar. That means that if traders want to realize the unrealized profits they made on altcoins, they will need to acquire either Bitcoin and or Ethereum. And I don't have the chart pulled up today, but if you just go to CoinMarketCap and have a look at Bitcoin dominance, you will notice that after we did have the crazy Bitcoin bubble of 2017, followed by the altcoin boom, we had a major sell-off in all of the sectors, including the top guys, and ultimately most of that capital ended up returning back into Bitcoin, number one, and Ethereum at the end. So will history repeat itself? Well, it's a possibility, but that's it for me today, guys. Let's give away a freaking Ledger Nano S to a lucky winner. So we had 5 videos last week, so let's generate a random video, and number 2. All right, so actually that was the PayPal news. The potential PayPal news for Bitcoin and Bitcoin coming to PayPal and Venmo. So we do need to give away one lucky winner. So drum roll, please, for the Ledger Nano S. I'm here for the Ledger. Rumham, you've won the Ledger. Congratulations. Straight to the point. I like your style, buddy. So that's it for me today. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. You're the reason that I do this every single day. Hope you guys are having a great start to your week. Be careful out there. Always stay on the safer side of things. Don't invest more than you can afford to lose. You guys know the drill. If you're not subscribed, do consider it. My name's K-Dub. This is CryptoZombie. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.